The other day, someone I've known since we were about 10 years old and who's a successful banking executive asked me this question: what's SEO? Now, anyone who knows me, and I include readers and listeners in that illustrious group, knows that given the chance, I'll talk about search engine optimization and the things that go into it for hours. But this question from this person was so simple, short, and direct that I felt challenged to try and explain SEO quickly. And by quickly, I mean in about 500 words. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, that's a process, or Search Engine Optimizer, a person who performs the process of search engine optimization. SEO can be something of a controversial topic. Once upon a time, and let's call that 15 years ago, SEO was a simple matter. You plugged multiple iterations of words for which you wanted high search engine ranking into the keyword descriptors on web pages. Google, and we'll just talk about Google, was not yet sophisticated enough to realize that pages set up that way were gaming the system. And so between that and the fact that SEO was a young field with few competitors, you succeeded. Well, Google caught up to that technique, so SEOs moved on to writing copy in web pages that essentially did the same thing. For example, several years ago, I wrote an article about a patent Facebook had received, and I seeded the patent's number 7669123 all throughout the story. Now try searching Google for 7669123 or patent 7669123 or US patent 7669123, and you'll find Facebook's patent 7669123 not unique. How was it issued? In either position 3 or 4 here in the United States, and as high as number 1 elsewhere. Obscure? Sure, but read on. While it's obvious that an intellectual property consultant would want to rank well for the phrase intellectual property, and someone's at the top, getting there is very hard. So the idea of Longtail Marketing came to be, as in intellectual property consultants, we can also attract traffic by ranking well for a lot of pieces rather than just going after whales. 7669123 is one of those small pieces. So SEO refers to the practice of getting Google to think you matter. Now, here's the rub. Google's become sophisticated and the internet's become, well, huge. And because that's true, old school methodologies for successful SEO are no longer nearly as effective as they once were, and they can even backfire. So SEO is now a small component of content marketing, a nebulous term if ever there was one, or not. Content marketing is about creating content that's worth reading or listening to or watching, both so that you create natural buzz and so Google likes you for doing so. And your head is now spinning. So here's the thing. There is absolutely nothing more important than Google liking you. TV and radio, there's still radio? Ads work, but only in a very narrow context. Print ads also work in a very specific and very different way. The yellow pages don't exist meaningfully anymore at all. Except, yeah, they do. They're called search engines. And as if that wasn't enough, consider that search engines are now becoming local, just as the yellow pages once were. So whereas the example about 7669123 is accurate and probably will continue to be accurate in most ways and in most places for a long time, anything that lends itself to local search, say a search for McDonald's, which often means find me the closest one, is extraordinarily difficult to rank for in any context other than local, and becoming harder every day. So the real answer today is that SEO needs to be part of your business processes with emphasis on both part and process. It's magic in its way, but search engine optimization is not nearly as magical as it once was, and it needs to be just an element of your content marketing strategy. And you can't do successful content marketing without putting a process in place. So what's SEO? It's everything. And who should you call? I'm the answer guy, and I'll be back.